Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Motor Vehicle and Transportation Subcommittee. It is March 4. We have 3 bills on our agenda today. We're going to start off with the Lieutenant Governor's work zone camera bill, HB 513. So, Patrick, do you want to run through what the bill does and what our amendments are?
Yeah. Well, this is the work zone camera. It's been heavily amended. We went through the Lieutenant Governor's amendments last week that clarified that the local jurisdictions could also use these on roads 45 miles an hour and above. And they also took out the current law requirement that they could only be used on expressway or controlled access highway, again, to help the local jurisdictions out. And then there's some amendments that have been put on based on subcommittee discussions and the like. Most specifically, authorizing money to be used for state highway administration system preservation, requiring the Wyval amendment that a device that displays a real-time posting of the speed at which a driver is traveling is near each sign alerting people that the work zone speed cameras are being used. Clarify the language with respect to multiple cameras in one work zone, clarifying that not more than one citation may be issued for the same registration plate within an hour period. The first civil penalty is struck down from $290 to $80. That's until the end of this year, after which it will increase to $250, a maximum of $250. And let's see what else here. Sounds like about it.
So first and subsequent, Patrick?
No first and subsequent.
Right, but meaning they're all the same.
Yes. Yes.
So
there was problems with subsequent violations with work zones, specifically with different jurisdictions. You know, how do you know in Montgomery if it's a subsequent, if you got your first in Prince George's and the like?
Right, right. So we had originally talked about a tiered, you know, your first one is this amount, your second one is this amount, your third one is this amount, but that proved to be unworkable. So it's just $80 per violation until the end of this year, and then it will be $250, and that is what it is for the school bus cameras. So, Chair Healy. And you're muted.
Just trying to catch up on what all that means, and I think I started to listen to the discussion that you just had, and I lost my thought. So never mind.
Okay. Delegate Davis.
Thank you. I have a question for Patrick. I was taking notes, and you mentioned the third thing has something to do with audio. Did I hear audio?
No.
I don't think so.
Audio.
What's the third thing you mentioned as an amendment?
I mentioned the Lieutenant Governor's amendments. Oh, maybe you were talking about the real-time posting of the speed at which the driver is traveling.
Oh, the Wyval amendment.
The Wyval amendment.
Yeah,
Wyval amendment. The real-time speed.
You know those machines that show you, your speed is right above what the speed limit is?
Right above the camera?
Well, it doesn't have to be
proximity to the signs.
Right.
I need to know what that is, you guys.
So it's we call it the Wyval amendment because Delegate Wyval always wanted these near speed cameras. So what it is it's just the sign that shows you how fast you're going near the sign that says, hey, there are speed cameras in this area. So that is also intended to slow people down. So in addition to the sign that says there are speed cameras here, there's also the real-time speed monitoring. So you get a sign that says, watch out, there's speed cameras. You get this that tells you how fast you're going. And then there's the camera.
Okay, and that is mandatory on all the cameras
In this bill,
Into
yes.
this program, correct.
in this program.
Yes.
And I want to be clear that it's the local jurisdictions are still in there.
Yes.
Yes, but it's got to be on a road 45 or higher, 45 miles an hour or higher. They can't put it in a work zone where the speed limit is 30 miles an hour.
Okay, and can the state do that?
The state is
Same
also,
parameters.
yeah, also limited to 45 miles an hour or higher posted speed limit.
All right, and I heard something about cameras, a number of cameras.
Right.
Well, the bill provides that you can have, well, it clarifies really, because you really could have under previous law, but that you can have more, like say you have a work zone that's 6-7 miles long. You're not limited to one speed camera. You can have multiple speed cameras, but you can only have one citation come out of that. So if there's 3 cameras in a work zone and you're speeding past all of them, you'll only get one citation for traveling in an hour's period.
Okay, and last question. I wrote down multiple cameras. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, that's the same thing.
Okay.
Multiple cameras in one speed camera. So,
Okay,
work
got
zone,
it.
excuse
Thank
me.
you, guys.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Move the amendment.
Second.
Any further discussion on the amendments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Move the
opposed? All
bill.
right, there's a motion on the floor for the bill as
Second.
amended. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The amended bill passes. Thank you. Next, we will move to HB 337, the Sarah Devon Langenkamp Memorial Act. If you all remember, this is the bill that changes the penalties for when someone is hit in a dedicated bike lane. And in conversations with the chair of the Judiciary Committee, he brought up a couple of hypotheticals that led Patrick and myself to think we needed to tighten the language. So Patrick, you want to tell folks what we've come up with, please?
Yes, and if Gretchen has the reprint, maybe it'd be good to put her to share the screen. If not, I can just read through it.
Gretchen was driving back to Annapolis when that was distributed, so I did not get that.
Okay, fair enough.
It's there somewhere.
I
but-
can share my screen. Let me just pull it up. Hang on. Oops.
Sorry, Gretchen, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
That's okay, Patrick. I know you didn't.
Patrick, yeah, you sent me the reprint. When did you send it to me? There it is. Okay, pull it up. Sorry, everybody, give me 1 second. There we go. Screen.
I have it. Do you want me to forward it to you or?
Nope, I've got it.
Okay,
Can you
great.
all see it? Oh,
Yep,
wait,
there you go.
that's the wrong one.
Oh,
That's 513, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, Gretchen, can you send it to me? That might make it faster. There we go. I found it, I lied. Okay, take 2. There we go. Can you all see that?
337.
There you go.
Everybody
Maybe
got it?
Scroll down a little bit.
Yep. So it's a short bill. But
There we
you
go.
could, sorry?
And there's the language. It says a
Yeah.
person may not commit a violation of paragraph 1 of this subsection, which is not failure to prohibiting the failure to yield the right of way to a bicycle in a bike lane or shoulder. That contributes to, instead of a crash, narrowing it to the serious physical injury or death of a person riding a bicycle, Segway, or motor scooter.
So, any questions? Yes, Delegate Davis.
So you said you talked with the Judiciary Chair.
Yes.
I find it duplicative. What did he say about what law already exists in a case that you're trying to deal with here?
So when we were originally talking about the language that says contributes to a crash, his question was, well, what if somebody opens their door into a bike lane and the bicyclist crashes? Or what if in swerving, you see that there's a cyclist, you're about to turn into the bike lane into a parking lot. You see you swerve back into the road and you hit another car. We didn't make it clear that the crash was with the cyclist. And we also wanted to narrow it to serious physical injury or death, because we didn't think prison for someone who, grazed a cyclist and they got a skinned knee was the appropriate penalty. So that's why the change in the language.
I know, but my question is, if you hit someone on a bicycle now, what happens?
So it depends. The case that gave rise to this, the truck driver who turned into a parking lot, crossing the bicycle lane where Sarah Langenkamp was, received $2,000 and 150 hours of community service. That was it.
And my argument is that that's not the extent of what he could have received. And so I find it duplicative. Thank you.
But according to the state's attorney in Montgomery County, that was all they could charge him with.
Okay.
So, okay, Delegate Jacobs?
All right, Patrick, this, in this fine, in lines 20 through 22, it says, imprisonment not exceeding 2 months or fine not exceeding 2,000. Is that 2-month time frame in existing law now?
That is, well, for bicycles, no, but for pedestrians, yes. This mirrors the penalties for failure to yield to a pedestrian.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Morgan? Delegate Morgan?
I think he's on mute.
Beck and Jack. Okay. So my question becomes on a couple of parties. You got a bicycler who's barreling down the road at whatever speed they're on. And we have all these bills right now about bicycle lanes and bus lanes and traffic lanes, etc. So, at what point in time, I recognize what the goal of the legislature is, but if a person's driving down the road, biking down the road, and a person stops off on the side and gets out of his car, is it always the driver's responsibility to make sure the bicyclist is coming around the corner to make sure that they don't get hit?
So I hear the hypothetical that you put out, but this is solely related to bike lanes. So designated bike lanes. So somebody shouldn't be pulling over and stopping there in the bike lane.
Okay, let me ask the question differently, ma'am. If there is this is an urban issue, obviously, but if you have a driver, we have these other bills out there, and they have to have a drop-off and delivery zone, and the drop-off and delivery zone is somewhere between the sidewalk, the bike lane, and the street. How do we handle that?
So if somebody, I don't know if that exists, but let's say it does. and there is a delivery vehicle that is lawfully parked there, then that's not going to fall under this. Because you're supposed to yield the right of way, which means that both of the vehicles are moving. Am I correct, Patrick?
Well, yeah, if you're stopped, you can't really yield if you're stopped.
Right. So in that hypothetical, it wouldn't fall under this circumstance.
But then, ma'am, how does it work with a double parked vehicle?
What do you mean a double park? They're parked. So
Well,
what this,
You're parked unloading your vehicle. You have to double park in order to be somewhere between the bike lane and the regular lane. Then the person on the bicycle comes up and gets hit. I guess
gets hit by what?
by the driver getting out of the truck, I'm assuming, correct?
Well, if the truck is parked, this doesn't apply.
So you're saying this is like I'm gonna be really sarcastic. What was that movie years ago? Steve McQueen or something racing through the streets of Chicago. They opens the door, the thing gets all busted up. Vaughn, you should know the movie because you're my history guy.
But that's
Steve McQueen or
exactly
something?
that's exactly the chair of the Judiciary Committee's hypothetical and why we changed that contributes to a crash.
I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Okay.
So what it is they've got to be yielding the right of way if the driver of the vehicle is about to enter or cross the designated bike lane or shoulder. So it's really not if you're opening your door, it's you're driving and you're about to turn and cross a bike lane. So that's when this applies.
So going back, who the hell would ever be driving down the road, making a bike, and open the door to take somebody out?
You're driving down the road and you open your door?
Nobody would do that. No.
Agreed.
What's that?
If I heard you correctly, now, I mean, you open your door purposely to hit somebody riding a bicycle?
I think we're lost.
No,
I think I-
as
Patrick,
Chairman
you help me,
Love
please.
clarified, we're talking about when you're taking a turn to cross a bike lane or a shoulder where bicycles can lawfully ride.
Okay.
I'll read
I
you
got
the language.
Okay, no, I'm better now, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Delegate Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I think the movie that he's talking about is Bullitt. Is that right?
I don't remember. I just remember it's in Chicago that
Yeah,
it
I think
it's a
you
pretty
Google
traumatic scene, but
Bullitt, I think is what you're thinking of.
thanks.
So on the bill, I think also what Delegate Morgan is talking about is Section C, line 12, and the thing you have up here, which is not about a car being in motion, but does relate to using the door to strike someone and possibly injure someone. I think that's what Delegate Morgan was talking about. So that part of the bill actually does prohibit people from hitting people with their car door when they're parked. But I just wanted to point out that there's an intentionality mens rea there. So if you accidentally open your car door and someone's coming down a bike lane and you hit them, even if you cause physical injury or death, serious physical injury or death, that actually wouldn't be a violation of this statute because you were doing it negligently. This statute, I believe, Patrick or Sarah or Chair Love can correct me if I'm wrong, but this statute only forbids hitting someone with the door of your motor vehicle with the intent to strike or injure them.
Well, actually, it doesn't even apply to that at all because if you look at it, it's D2. A person may not commit a violation of paragraph 1 of this subsection. So it doesn't even apply to C.
I see.
It applies to D1.
I see now. Okay. Thank you. I stand corrected. Yeah, that's even more narrow than I thought. Okay, cool.
Delegate Davis.
So not so much on the bill. So how does this fit with the fact that we're changing that we may be changing liability for bicyclists or changing right-of-ways for bicyclists? It bothers me a little bit because of that. Can someone talk to that?
Well, I don't think
Sure.
we're actually changing liability here.
Not in
because
this
we're
bill,
not-
Patrick. Not in this bill. I mean, another bill.
Oh, okay.
You know, the fact that
So,
you know what I'm
right.
talking about.
Right, in 511, but I don't think we're changing the liability in 511 either.
We're changing right-of-way rules.
Right, but that doesn't, well, we'll get to that.
Okay, well, okay, all right. I don't like them changing at the same time.
Well, let me just note that this again only applies in bike lanes and shoulders. And I think 511 is it's mainly pointed at bicycles on the roadway.
No,
Yeah.
it was bike
it
pass
does-
too. But okay, I don't want to confuse things. Thank you.
Chair Healy.
Yes, thank you. My Zoom is going to take my hand down if I don't start talking. I guess it took it down anyway. I had actually two questions. Delegate Davis's question, I am concerned about because if that other bill were to pass that allows people to run through stop signs if they're on bicycles, and the driver stops and doesn't know that the bicycle's continuing on, and there's a collision there. Again, it's about who's at fault, and I have a concern about doing these two things in tandem. Like I could share Delegate Davis's concern. The other question I had was about the new language, where you talk about a person riding a bicycle, an EPAMD, or a motor scooter. Does it also include other things like somebody who is on a motorized wheelchair or those kind of things? Because those folks need to get around the same way pedestrians do. And if this is supposed to mirror pedestrian protection, maybe it should also protect those folks as well.
Patrick?
Well, in the Maryland law, bicycles, motor scooters, and these are EPAMs are segways. They're all classified together, and most of the rules apply to them as one. You'll see this listing, throughout the code. In fact, there's an entire subtitle for bicycles, segways, and motor scooters. Wheelchairs are treated differently on their own. I think they're more treated like pedestrians.
Oh, okay. They're already treated like pedestrians.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, that answers my question then.
Okay. Let me stop sharing so I can make sure to see everyone. Any other questions on this bill? Okay.
I'd like to
Is-
move the amendments.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the amendment passes. On the bill?
Move favorable.
Second.
Great. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. All those opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, thank you very much. Bill as amended passes. Okay, thank you all. And last on our agenda is what we just heard, HB, where are we? 375, Port of Baltimore renaming. Patrick, will you tell us what this bill does?
I believe the short title says it all. It names the Port of Baltimore as I'll get it right here. I never knew how to pronounce this. Dillich Bentley
think
Port
so.
of Baltimore.
I think so. And so Governor Ehrlich officially renamed the Port of Baltimore. And I don't remember what year, Patrick, do you?
I think it was 2006.
Yes, that sounds right, 2006. So what this bill does is it changes references in state law where it says Port of Baltimore. There are
Move
no
the
amendments. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion on this bill? Yes, Delegate Ziegler.
So again, this is something I just want to say aloud. I was working at CNN during the Bosnian War, and a perennially reliable apologist for Slobodan Milosevic and what Serbia was doing with their concentration camps was Helen Delich Bentley.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
I know
Thank you.
people.
Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I understand that people are complicated.
Yeah. Thank you for putting that on the record. Any further discussion? Okay, there's a motion and a second. On the bill, all those in favor? Signify by saying aye, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay. Chair Healy, you have your hand up? Nope, now it's down again. Okay, we have blown through our agenda. Are there any questions, anything for the good of the order?
These will be voted on full committee Wednesday.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate this discussion, everyone, always. Thank you all.